without a history are said to be a forgotten people because history to a large extent determines where we're going as a people, understanding the journeys that we have taken through life and also forging a path for us. In my search and quest for history, to know more about this country, to identify individuals who are trailblazers in their chosen fields, I have today on Executive Discuss taken a journey all the way to the northwestern part of Nigeria, precisely the Zazzau Emirate in Zaria, Kaduna State. Today I have found myself, and graciously too, at the palace of the Emir of Zazzau, the 19th Emir of Zazzau. And of course, you know that what we do is seek out trailblazers. I welcome you to Executive Discuss. I am Ololade Adeniji Adele. Today, it's a royal journey because this is an emirate, a city that has so much history behind it. And the history and the tradition of the people is still being preserved. As recently, there was the coronation and installment of the 19th Emir of Zazzau. He is a man who has had an interesting journey through life. He is a lawyer, he is a diplomat, he is a banker. In fact, at the time, and of course once an ambassador, always an ambassador, he was the ambassador of Nigeria to Thailand and of course concurrently to Myanmar. He has so much that he has done, but right now he has come to sit on the throne of his fathers, of his forebears, to administer his people and bring good justice to the Zazzau Emirate. Please join me on Executive Discuss as we welcome His Royal Highness Ambassador Ahmed Nuhu Bamalli. Your Royal Highness, it's good to have you here on the show with us.
Yeah, good to have you too.
And thank you for allowing us into the palace.
You're always welcome.
For the purpose of our viewers, Your Royal Highness, it's important we know who our guest is today in detail. Can you take us through your journey, your early years? Tell us about your life growing up, where you were born, and how life was as a child, your journey.
Well, it's a very difficult question, but I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Well, I can say I was conceived in Lagos and born in Zaria. The reason why I said this is because I was born exactly on Wednesday, the 8th of June, 1966, here in Zaria. That's a few months after the coup in 1966. Prior to the coup, my parents were in Lagos. My father was the foreign minister of Nigeria. And after the coup, 15th January 1966, the family had to move to Zaria. And a few months down the line, and General Iransi, I was born here. So that's why I said I was conceived in Lagos and then born in Zaria, precisely on the 8th of June 1966. And I grew up Zaria, partially in Kaduna. My primary school, I went to about 3 different primary schools, both here and in Kaduna, because of my parents' movement. As public servants, you move from one location to another. So I shuttled between Zaria and Kaduna, yes. So after my primary schools, I went to secondary school, Government College, Kaduna. It's one of the premier secondary schools in northern Nigeria, because here we have Barewa College here in Zaria, and then the sister secondary school is Government College in Kaduna. Because Barewa started in Katsina as Katsina Training College, Katsina Higher College, then Kaduna College, and then finally Government College Zaria. Then eventually they changed the name to Barewa College Zaria. So I happened to be in Government College Kaduna. So I was there. That's why I did my secondary school. If you had come here yesterday, you will see close to 100, classmates of mine. Old boys, and that I haven't seen for 40 years.
Wow.
So they came, and it was a very emotional meeting for all of us. So it was quite, memorable and touching. So that's how we started, and then I came to Abuja here. I studied law and my first degree, and then I did my second degree also in international affairs and diplomacy. I ventured into, corporate world. I was in Lagos for 10 years. I was one of the pioneer staff of First Securities Discount House. I was there for 10 years. I was rose up to the position of assistant manager. And so many people there. Our chairman was Hakim Bello Sagi. We had Brian Duko, we have Hamda Amba, she's the MD now. We have Pat Oniha, she's the MD of DG of Debt Management Office now. So many of us, and even the governor of Lagos State, the present governor was part of our team initially, and I was very pleased to see him, coming for my coronation or so, because I never expected I was going to drag people on short notice. So it was quite nice of him and others that came all the way from Lagos, Around 1998, 99, I had to, my father's health was failing gradually, so I had to relocate to the north so that at least I would be close to him, near home, to be able to support him. I was the eldest child, alive, and so I didn't have any reason, at least, to stay away from home. I had to be close, yes. So I relocated to Abuja, and I was in Abuja for almost 20 years in Abuja, but it was shortly after I came back, from Lagos, that he passed on in 2001. So, thank you. And then I was saddled with responsibilities, and stepping into shoes of somebody whose personality was like larger than life was not an easy task. So I was appointed Magajingari, his title, which is like a princely title given to second most senior member of the royal family here. It was a big position. He was a member of the council, but considering my age and also, my working career, I was not given that aspect of pinning me down to work in the palace, as a member of council. Therefore, I took only the title. Occasionally, the Emir assigned some responsibilities to me to represent him in occasions, be it to Lagos or in Abuja, and especially in the diplomatic, cycle. Yes. So I had excellent relationship with the diplomatic community, even though there was no any inkling that I was going to go into foreign service.
I was going to ask if that was what led you into foreign service.
No, I had wanted to be in foreign service from the onset, but my father didn't want me to go, even though he was the foreign minister. Yes, but he never wanted me to move away from home because his age was quite advanced and his health was failing, and he didn't want me to be far off, and then his family will be disintegrated. So he wanted me home. So, but my younger brother is a diplomat. Okay. He didn't mind, my other brothers to go into foreign service. Yes, he didn't mind.
He just wanted you to be close.
It should be home. Yes, he said if I want to go into foreign service, I could go much later, but not at that time. And God answered his prayers, I believe. So the day he passed on was the day my younger brother started diplomatic service.
Wow.
So I can recall we went to Abuja on a Sunday, and that Sunday night he passed on. And then my brother reported to work in the morning.
On Monday?
On Monday, only for people to be condoling him, of his father's demise.
Wow.
So you can imagine how it was a mix, sweet and sour for him. Yes. So that's what happened. Then for me, I continued, with the other functions, as Magajingari, and as I was still in banking at that time, FSB, now Fidelity Bank, and then subsequently I was in then MTEL.
Okay.
Was about to be sold by Transcorp. I think they wanted to take over and revitalize the place. So I was invited to be part of the team, and I thought it was going to work very well. Myself and this Minister of Finance, Zainab, she was GM Finance, I was GM Human Resources, the same institution. So we did our best to the best of our abilities, but there was no funding. We stayed for months, almost 20-something months,
without funding,
no salaries and things like that. So it was a Herculean task.
And you were expected to keep going on.
Absolutely. So we were not businessmen. So I had to. I left. I had an achievement scholarship, and I went back to the UK. I went to do a fellowship at University of York. When we came back, and for a few months also down the line, then I received a call. I was attending a meeting somewhere in the secretariat in Kaduna. Then I received a call from Mr. Shola Enikolai, Ambassador Shola Enikolai, the former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yes, he called me to say that, Your Excellency, I have been directed, by Mr. President to inform you that he has posted you to Thailand as Nigerian ambassador.
Where did that come from?
So and well, prior to that time, I was told that, my governor wanted my CV. I requested by, his chief of staff requested for my CV. I said, what for? He said, something befitting. So I didn't know jack about what was
befitting.
Exactly. So, and that was it until that call came through. So then I was so disoriented. Then I had to, the people sitting next to me at the meeting thought something was cooking, and because I was so disoriented and confused, I lost my balance immediately, yes. So I got up, I left the room, and then I came back. And I called my younger brother, who is a career diplomat there. And then I asked him, where is Thailand? Because I was looking for old map to even locate where Thailand is. Because all you know about Thailand is rice and, but...
No, but were you serious asking where Thailand was?
Yes, absolutely. That was what I was looking for. Because, I was trying to see, okay, where do I connect
how do I
from,
navigate?
yes, from, Zaria or Kaduna to Thailand. How do I even get there? Nobody goes there. Mm-hmm. So I was a bit disoriented, and then finally, and then my brother was trying to tell me, it's a very good post in that. I said, will you shut up? Because I was not expecting anything of that nature from him. So I was honestly not in my frame of mind at that time. But I think it was a rewarding experience, and I'm very grateful to Mr. President for posting me to Thailand. And
you enjoyed it?
I did, and I'm proud to say that at least in all sense of humility, the records are there. And during my stay, we've been able to change the narratives about Nigeria and Nigerians in Thailand. And then, of course, issues in areas of agriculture. We did our best. We have connected so many Nigerian farmers, to some strategic partners. And I'm very proud that a lot of investment came through, in those areas. And in our time, we've been able to have a number of Thai people coming to Nigeria has, gone high astronomically. And they've already started, establishing companies in Nigeria, which was never the case before. So we're happy at least, So after then we were recalled. So we were about coming home. Then COVID started.
Okay.
And then we were waiting.
You had to stay back.
Yes, we stayed back. And then all of a sudden, then we lost, the Emir. So it was a rude shock to us. And not that he was very ill, because last I heard of him I was saying my prayer, and then, he was speaking to my wife, his daughter. So I overheard him, talking to her. This is just the day before he was taken to the hospital.
Wow.
So I was praying at that time. So I didn't even ask, because he called. So, and then
All was well.
yes, and even though he was taken to the hospital, nobody expected, the worst. Yeah, it was, yes. So and then all of a sudden, then the call came through. So it was the turning point, and you can imagine, you're millions of miles away from home, and then you can't move an inch. So it was, it is. And we were stuck for 4 months. No plane touched, the ground, yes, in Bangkok. So I was a bit terrified, because everybody was home. We were the only ones outside, yes. And my friends here were like doing so many permutations on how to get us out of the country, to charter a plane, to come. We are talking of about $388,000 from what we were hearing.
Wow.
So it's a Herculean task. So, and who is going to pay for that?
Exactly.
So, so many things. And people were saying this, that. So we just crossed our chest, and then we were praying that let God, take charge of the situation. And then all of a sudden, a friend of mine, the regional manager Southeast Asia of Ethiopian Air, he's a personal friend and school friend. We spoke. I said, this is my situation. We're stuck. We can't travel. We lost our father. And he said, okay, Ambassador, can you get us landing right?
Wow.
I said, yes, I'll do my best.
Wow.
Then we spoke to the authorities, and then we diverted a plane from the Philippines. It came, landed, took only me, my wife, and 2 daughters.
Wow.
And then straight to Addis at the normal cost. So it was, I saw that as an act of God.
Yes.
Because we're talking of $388,000 as against about 9,000 plus.
For the 4 of
For
you?
the 4 of us.
It was just an act of God.
So I see that as an act of God, yes. So, and that's how we were able to leave Thailand. I was at the airport when some of my family members, were, getting restless that I did not indicate interest about the MSU. I said I was not going to write. And then they converged, they had meetings, and that except if I want to sacrifice our own family. So it was a bit difficult for me. So they said all others had indicated.
Except you.
Except me, and I was far away in Asia. So, and others were from day one, of course, they were navigating, reaching out to their contacts. So I was very relaxed. Not that I had any premonition or that I spoke to anyone. Honestly, I never did. And so I said I was not going to write.
Despite the pressure from your family?
Yes, because I said if the kingmakers felt that I'm qualified to be, then let them go ahead and, submit my name. So some of my relations, impressed on me. Then I said, okay, I had to. It is with my phone at the airport before I boarded that I did the application. I sent it to my brother here. I said he should print it the next morning and then deliver it to the secretary to the Emirate Council.
Your appointment and installation as the Emir, as the 19th Emir of Zazzau, was described by the governor of the Kaduna State, His Excellency Nasir El-Rufai, as an act of correcting a 100 years old injustice with, the unjust deposition of your grandfather, Aliu Danzidi, by the colonial governor. What's your take on this? Does this hold water for you as a person and for your family?
Well, certainly if you come from a royal family, the ultimate dream of every prince is to ascend, to the throne of his forebears, which I'm grateful to God, in His own wisdom and mercy, to bestow this position on me. Of course, our fathers contested in the past; they didn't make it, and for me as a grandson, I'm the one that Allah has willed it, that I'm the one to step into the shoes of our grandfather. So Alhamdulillah, to the entire members of our family, it's like 1804, when our great-grandfather Musa Bamalli came to Zaria with the flag of authority as the first, Emir. So that's how we felt. And and again, a coincidence. It turned out to be every 100 years, the position comes back to the family. First time, 1804, Malam Musa was here. Exactly 100 years after, Aliu and Sidi became the Emir. Exactly 100 years after Aliu, then I'm here.
You are here.
So if you look at this coincidence, it's only God that does define things the way He wants it. So Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Zaria, formerly known as Zazzau, is a place that has a lot of history. I mean, you've taken us through some of the history with your 4 years here. And it still holds a pride of place in the sphere of the Sokoto Caliphate. I believe it's part of the Sokoto Caliphate. Now, looking at the rich history and culture of Zazzau, the traditions of northern Nigeria as it's been practiced here, what do you think has held the tradition steadfast and so long till today?
Yeah, education.
Education.
Yes. Zaria is a center of excellence, center of learning, even before the advent of the British in Nigeria. This has always been the hub. People from all walks of life come to Zaria, to study. My great-grandfather, Bamalli Musa, was among the 16 principal officers of the jihad itself. He participated in the jihad in Sokoto, like in Tepkin Koto. You can read it, it's in the books there. And that is with Damfodio himself, yes. So, and the essence of the jihad was not conquest of land, as some historians always write.
Okay.
No.
What was it?
It was about scholarship.
Scholarship.
Yes, it was about scholarship. It was about, reforming the Islamic religion.
Okay.
Separating it from traditional practices, which was under the Haberu, the house of practices which were, contrary to Islamic injunctions. That was the essence of the jihad, to purify Islam. You understand?
Yes.
Because there are certain Hausa practices that are not in consonance with Islamic religion. And that was the essence of the jihad.
Okay.
Yes, not conquest of land, no.
You have talked about how things go on here. I mean, you've really opened my eyes and schooled me thoroughly about this kind of things. But I want to understand, Your Royal Highness. You are the Emir here. You have diverse people from different parts of the country, different religious beliefs, different ethnicities. How easy or otherwise is it for you to administer your people? And everyone lives in peace and harmony, just as you alluded to. How easy or otherwise is it?
Well, that's the essence of, going to school, reaching out to people, and then, having a network of relationships. And then the exposure that you have in different lights will certainly assist you to do this. Because for me, I always say my 10 years in Lagos was an eye-opener for me. I met so many people that I consider friends for life. And again, I was telling someone just yesterday, the Chevening scholarship I had, to study in New York, taught me a lot. I did, a course on conflict resolution. Yes, and my attachment was at St. Ethelburger's, church in London.
Yeah.
And it used to be a church that was bombed by IRA, and then it turned out to be now a dialogue center. I stayed there for 1 month.
Wow.
So you can see somebody, a Fulani, a grandson of Malam Musa and grandson of Damfodio in a church,
Yes.
for 1 month, studying there. And so it was a remarkable...
And you would have learned a lot, I'm sure.
I did learn a lot. And again, it would hardly, I think almost every 2 weeks, I receive an email up till today, since 2009.
Till date, you receive an email from them?
From the church.
In all that you have said, Your Highness, you keep making reference to education as being key to one's success or otherwise. But I'm worried about one thing, and maybe perhaps you can educate me and educate our viewers. Talking about education, we still have a lot of out-of-school children in northern Nigeria. The Almajiri system is there, but it does not seem to be doing enough to educate our children. How do we begin to reduce the number of out-of-school children, not just in northern Nigeria, but in Nigeria in total? Because really, we have one of the highest number of out-of-school children in the world.
Well, for me personally, this is my own personal opinion.
Yes.
See, there is a fundamental mistake, I think, in our system. Okay. It's a systemic problem in the sense that anybody who can read or write anything is not an illiterate.
Sure.
So, but today, in Nigeria, if you cannot speak Queen's English, it's as if you have not gone to school, you're an illiterate. You understand? So, and then secondly, these people that, the Almajiri,
yes.
All of us, before I started, the Western school, I never went to any kindergarten or nursery school, whatever. No, I started from class 1. NTA Primary School, I didn't go to any private school that we now send our children to. I went to LEA, so all those things. But things were better in our time than today. Most important thing is there is no policy. There is no policy. Even if there is, it is not very effective. I don't know, that takes care of, this. Anybody who can commit to memory, the Quran, or he can read and write in other languages. He's not an illiterate.
Necessarily Queen's English.
Yes, he's not an illiterate. In fact, he has double advantage, better than you and I that can only speak English. But this guy, if you sit, I have had quite a number of them, Some in 2-3 years, they're out of secondary school. They're extremely intelligent. So now, with that kind of capacity and intellectual capacity, now we are telling that person
that is an illiterate.
He's an illiterate. You understand?
Yes.
So there is no provision made for
such people.
Such people. They can have a curriculum that you start from the beginning to the end. And if you go to other places, for example, I do not see any reason. In fact, I was reading something, I think, in Southwest. They're trying now to see how Yoruba language can be, a universal language, for including their parliaments and things like that. So then why would a country like this, with this number of people, now say you have to go and have a degree? And I'm also of the opinion that every child can study under the care of his parents. He doesn't have to leave. No. We all went to this Al-Majri schools, but within our communities.
But your parents did not shirk their responsibilities to you?
We go every day from home and, return. Yes, with the Al-Majris and everybody, there is no discrimination, no difference. The Malam is there, we go to his house, we study and we return home. Yes. So I didn't see any reason why, there should be no policy, to ensure that there is no child, is allowed to travel to another city. So it can be done within the city. Yes, and then you go back to your parents' houses. But stopping the Al-Majri system, or the Makarantang Allo system is something that I see as a Herculean task. I will not be one of those that will champion that.
Exactly.
Yes, but let every child study under the care of his parents in the same city. Just the way they go to conventional Western school, you go and come back, and in the morning hours, and then in the afternoon, in the evening, between 4 and 6, you go to your malam, study, and come back to your parents.
Just like others go to lessons.
Exactly. That's how we did it.
All right, I have been speaking on Executive Discourse today, coming to you all the way from the Emirate of Zazzau, here with His Royal Highness. And we have talked so much, talking about how he administers his people. He said so much, he's told us how he has lived his years up to taking up this seat. Why not let's get to meet a few people out there, maybe some of his subjects, a few people who know him through and through, and perhaps they can share with us one or two things about his identity and his journey through life. Please come with us as we meet a few people to talk about His Royal Highness.
His Royal Highness Ambassador Nuhu Bamalli is a very humble person, kind and caring. If he wants to achieve a goal, he makes sure he achieves it. He's a man of integrity. He takes people along because of his leadership, since when we are around that youthful age. So you can see that Allah has answered his prayer. And I could remember whenever we are visiting his dad, Magajingari, may Allah forgive him, put him in Al-Jannah. He'll also guide us. Always respect your elders. Target yourself, whatever you are going to do in your life. Pray for Allah and then you will achieve it.
Well, he's a good leader, complete gentleman. He always listens to his subjects and his co-workers, his council members, district heads, village heads, ward heads, and religious leaders.
We are definitely going to record a turning point in the history of the Emirates, with him occupying that office. This is what I usually assured people wherever I entered, that at least I know the Emir is proactive and there are going to be changes. I believe there must be reforms that he will introduce in the system.
Glad to know you're still here with us. The program is Executive Discourse, coming to you all the way from the Emirate of Zazzau. And we've spoken with a few people who know His Royal Highness Ahmed Nuhu Bamalli very well. Let's continue with our discussion. Your Royal Highness, when you were being installed as the 19th Emir of Zazzau, you promised to introduce best practices and redefine governance without interfering with the traditional beliefs of the people. How have you been able to bring this to the table, and how do you intend to build on it?
Well, first and foremost, this is a very old institution, and my predecessor, a blessed memory, he served for 61 years, 45 years as an emir, and 16 years as private secretary to the emir before him. So they're from the same family, the two of them. So you can see the pedigree he had. And yes, and for 61 years, it's one family, in place. And prior to that time, for 39 years, it's another family, that was here. So making it a total of 100 years, before my family now came onto the throne. So certainly, there's certain things that they had done, which was a different style from our way of doing things in our families. And so you can imagine, for me, there's certain things, yes, I am tagging along. It's not that it is our own ways of doing things, but not to create disruption. Yeah, exactly. So you have to understudy, and at the same time see how you can tag along with everybody without much disruption. But areas where there are some, there is need for realignment, certainly you will have to do that. And gradually you introduce your own policies and ways of doing things in line with international best practice.
Your Highness, that's perhaps the best recipe for success, I must say, moving on, leaving the past behind and building on what you have. But it brings me to something that worries me a lot. And in one of my interactions with one of your colleagues in the Southwest talking about the Oni of Ife, I asked him a similar question, and that is the place of history in our lives as a people. History seems to be gradually fading away from us, or is it we running away from history? A lot of parents don't even know their history. And at some point in time, the history as a subject was even taken out of our curriculum. And I'm wondering, for a people, if we do not know our history, how can we move ahead? What's your take on this and the role of history in our lives?
Well, for me, I think I'm always sentimental when it comes to the issue of history. I recall in my secondary school, I was the best student in history because I had a distinction in history in my secondary school. And I was shocked, when I came to understand that history is now not part of the curriculum of secondary schools. I have never seen any disaster like that, because if you call all these young people now to even tell you the governors of Nigeria, they don't know. The ministers, they don't know. In fact, what will shock you is you go to some offices now, people don't have, information about their predecessors in office, who was there before them. They don't care what has that person accomplished, so that at least you borrow or you build on what your predecessor has done, because at least somebody must have been there before you. At least there must be something that he had done, for you to learn or build on. So that one is no longer there anymore. So this is the disaster that has befallen, our country. And all this, if you don't know yesterday, there is no way you can exactly or define the future. So it is really, a disaster, to remove history from curriculum of schools.
Now, I know that the institution, the throne of your fathers that you're presently sitting on, comes with its own special and unique requirements. And I'm wondering now, before you came on the throne, your immediate family, children, your wife were all easily accessible to you. I'm just wondering, how accessible are they to you now? that you're not just theirs alone, but you're the father of all?
Yeah, well, I have a very small family because some are grown up already. They are not under close supervision like, my youngest child is in Form 3. So she's 13. So I don't have little children, that I can say I'm missing, them, but so I think I have only 5 children, a boy and 4 girls. So 2 are out of the university, 2 are in the university, and then 1 in secondary school. So I have only 1 wife.
And they all have easy access to you as they did before?
Yes, only that by our upbringing, even when my father was around, when I was growing up as a child, there are some protocols that we always follow when it comes to the issue of reaching out to your immediate family members. You can't just bump into your father. And I recall when I was growing up as a child, if you are a guest of my dad, if you pass into the inner house like this, he will not come out until that guest leaves. Yes. So we have those protocols even before now. So and our children are very much at home with that. So we were used to all the protocols.
Way of life.
Yes. So the issue of for the older children, yes, they're all grown-ups, and so I think they don't need any attention.
No supervision like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
I have been speaking with His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, Ambassador Ahmed Nuhu Bamalli. He's told us about his family, his way of life now. Maybe we should get to meet a few members of the family to actually find out how it is relating to him now that he's the Emir as against, when he wasn't before he took up the throne of his fathers. Let's get to meet a few family members.
Well, His Highness has been a very good brother to us, and not only a brother, a father, since when he was small. Because we were all little, then I can remember when he always advised us, he preached to us that we should try to study well, and also, respect one another among the family, and also, whenever we have issues like that relates to maybe our school, the family issue, we run to him for counseling. So I think he has ever been a very good person to us, a very gentle person, and also not only gentle, he is highly disciplined to a fault. So whoever is to go close to him must have the same mindset. So you can understand how he operates, he relates with people because of how he was brought up. And this is the same way all of us were brought up in the family. I know he's somebody that has the capacity to lead people because that has shown during his early days. So it's a man of his words, he has the integrity, and above all, is somebody that will bring progress to the town and Kaduna State in general.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and you allowing us into your palace here. And we wish you the very best of luck in all your endeavors in administering your people and ensuring that Nigeria gets to the greatest height possible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Indeed, there is nothing we can do as a people if we do not know our history and if we do not respect our traditional institutions. This is one institution that has seen so much in life and it has a lot of history behind it. I have been speaking on Executive Discourse with His Royal Highness Ahmed Nuhu Bamalli, the Emir of Zazzau, the 19th Emir of Zazzau, and we've spoken extensively. Remember, Executive Discourse is a program that celebrates trailblazers, and what more can you ask from us? But to please stay with us week in, week out, where we'll be unveiling this kind of individuals on a weekly basis. Till we meet again same time next week, I remain Ololade Adinijadeli, and just as His Royal Highness said, there is so much to look forward to in Nigeria. The future is indeed very bright for us. So please, play your role and contribute your own quota. God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.